Wednesday morning, 7:32, live and local with Russ Clark, AM 560, KBLU. See, I should have Senator McCAIN on the phone. Are you there, sir?
I'm there, Russ. How are you this morning?
Well, I'm doing well, Senator. And yourself?
I'm doing fine. Headed down to Yuma pretty soon and going to visit the Marines, and then out to the proving grounds and
you're going to have a big
other events, and then big Lincoln Day dinner tonight. Yuma there and for the party, and I'm looking forward to spending the day.
Well, it's going to be a big day for us, and I'll tell you, to have the governor and our senator speaking at the same dinner for the Lincoln Day dinner is a big deal for us. So we're really looking forward to it here in Yuma.
Well, thanks, Russ. I'm also going to visit the territorial prison. Maybe bring back some memories for me.
I hope not. And of course, with all the cuts and necessary cuts, I mean, I'm not faulting them statewide, government-wide. It looks like the territorial prison will get turned over to us, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think we can do a better job here locally.
Well, that's what I'm told, and the fact is, it's part of Arizona's rich history of the West, and we ought to do everything we can to preserve it. Recently there was the movie 3:10 to Yuma.
Yes.
Remake from an older movie that I saw when I was a kid. So
the only bad thing about that whole movie, Senator, is that they never actually made it to Yuma, so we didn't get spotlighted. We were just in the title.
I know it, and I liked the movie all the way through, but in the end it got a little ridiculous. But Russell Crowe's a great actor.
Great. Yes, he is. He brings in the dollars, I think. Healthcare program in D.C., is it dead now, Senator?
No, I'm afraid that they're going to give it another shot. Here's the deal. You're going to have this meeting, negotiations, on the 25th. The president is setting the agenda. He will be doing the, quote, moderating, and I think their strategy is to try to say, well, the Republicans wouldn't agree to anything, so now we're going to go to this 51-vote so-called reconciliation. I'm very worried about that. The American people don't want it. We have fought it every step of the way. American public opinion is turned completely around. They want us to start over. And what we're saying to the president is, start over. Don't, and cut out these sleazy deals, these buyouts for unions, for the Cornhusker kickback in Nebraska, the Louisiana Purchase. I mean, I want to tell you, Russ, I've been around there a while. It's the sleaziest deal making I have ever, Chicago-style deal making that I've ever seen. No, the American people don't want that. So let's start over. He's not going to want to start over. So it's going to be an interesting 3 weeks coming up. This is their last gasp, though.
Yeah, but you can't, I mean, I'm not a legislator, but I don't see how you can fix thousands of pages of poor legislation with a few amendments.
You can't. And you got to start over. And one of the things you start with, my friend, is medical malpractice reform.
Right.
That's hundreds of billions of dollars, because not only is it the malpractice itself, insurance policies and price, but we all know that doctors practice defensive medicine in order to prevent finding themselves in court. So, look, there's a number of things that we could do. We could do immediately. We could go across state lines to get the insurance policy of your choice. We could let's have small businesses join together to compete for policies that would be more beneficial to them. We could emphasize and reward wellness and fitness. There's all kinds of things that we could do which are simple, easy, and bend the cost curve down instead of a $2.5 trillion debt added on to the future generations of Americans. Americans have figured it out, and frankly, I'm very worried, not worried, but this 25th of February, that's not negotiating, my friend. What negotiating is you sit across the table from the other side and you say, okay, what do you want? What do we want? What can we agree on? That means start over.
Yes, it does. Something that amazes me on the health care bill, the president came out a year ago and he said there was $500 billion in fraud in Medicare, and that's going to help pay for it. Well, why in 1 year have we not gone after the fraud if it really exists?
Yeah, why wait until you pass a law? Yeah. And they want to cut Medicare by some $500 billion, and there's no way to do that, but there is. We could eliminate fraud and abuse and waste, and it's rampant. very easily without having to pass a law to do it. I mean, we have the tools. We have an attorney general. We have lots of enforcement agencies. But anyway.
Yeah, I know. It goes on. Stimulus bill. The stimulus bill, I think most people are realizing the stimulus bill isn't doing what it should do, although they're talking about jobs saved now and created, even though we don't see them.
Russ, you're going to find out at the end of all this that it's going to be some massive amount of money per job created. I mean, this thing, it is another one of these things. They just throw money at it. President goes down to where was it? Tampa the other day. We're going to spend $6 billion on a bullet train. Goes someplace else. Oh, we're going to spend $10 billion on green technologies. Goes another place. We're going to, and meanwhile, we have amassed a deficit of incredible proportions, where we now have a debt of $45,000 for every man, woman, and child in America. We have committed generational theft, and so the answer is stop spending. Stop. S-T-O-P. Stop. And they refuse to. But yeah, I mean. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We're talking about more spending. In fact, the possibility of another stimulus bill came up. Everyone rejected it, and then they changed the name to Jobs Bill, and now it looks like people might embrace it.
Listen, Russ. If you don't like what it is, change the name. Change the name. Just change the name. It is nuts. He announced with great fanfare that we would freeze next year discretionary spending. You know how much money that really is?
No.
Around $15 billion. The very next day proposes a, quote, jobs bill for this year that cost $100 billion. I mean, look, now that, all due respect to my Navy and Marine Corps friends, they're spending money like a drunken sailor and the bar is still open.
That's right. You're an old Navy guy.
Could I mention one other thing real quick, very briefly? Marines are doing a great job over in Afghanistan. I would like to point out that both December and January, not a single service member was killed in Iraq. And by the way, did you hear the other night, our vice president, say on Larry King that Iraq may be the greatest accomplishment of the Obama administration?
Fell out of my chair.
I fell off the couch and injured my skull. I'm telling you, my friend, you can't make that up.
No,
I fought them for a year. Obama said that not only would it not succeed, but it would make things worse.
Yes.
Now they're going to take credit for it?
Oh, and particularly Biden, because he wanted to split it into three separate countries. It wouldn't work. You can't have peace there. These people hate each other. Just craziness.
But in Afghanistan, we're succeeding. It's going to be tough. Our Marines and Army are doing all our armed forces are doing a tremendous job there. We can succeed. I'm sorry to say that casualties are going to go up, but we can't afford to have Afghanistan return to a base for attacks on the United States of America. I'm the ranking member on the Armed Services Committee. When we take control of the Senate again, I'll be the chairman, and I'll be fighting for Yuma, the Yuma Proving Ground, the Marines, and a strong national defense. And I believe I can be most effective in that area as well.
One question regarding the race. A lot of people call me and says, you've got to ask the senator this.
Yeah.
And the question is, why are you going after Hayworth so hard? And some people say you're going harder after him than you ever did Barack Obama.
We went hard after Barack Obama. The fact is that for over a year, Mr. Hayworth attacked me in the most personal and vicious way on his radio station. I'm not going to let him define me.
Okay.
The fact is that he was a big spender. He was an earmarker and pork barreler tied up with Abramoff. We're gonna make all who's been an effective senator and who got thrown out in 2006 by his constituents in a heavy Republican district, and why.
Well, it's going to be an interesting race.
Russia, there's an old Irish saying, a fight not joined is a fight not enjoyed.
Senator, I look forward to seeing you this evening. Thanks so much for coming down to Yuma. I understand you're in Flagstaff now. Snow there? Or?
I Actually, I'm in Page Springs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I was in Flagstaff yesterday, and a lot of snow, and they're making a little money, so that's good.
Yes, it is good. Well, hopefully this global warming gives us a break, because we need to break some of the snow. I know D.C. was just buried.
By the way, have you seen the latest on that, how bogus some of this
yes.
quote scientific information is? Remarkable. But one other quick thing. They say that they want nuclear power. The president comes out, saying, well, we're now for nuclear power. At the same time, they close Yucca Mountain, so there's no place to store the spent nuclear fuel, and they refuse to recycle. So,
right.
I mean, it's an exercise in rank hypocrisy. We must have nuclear power if we're going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and if we're going to become energy independent.
Well, it's amazing to me that nuclear power has become a political football. That it seems to be more Democrats don't want it, and Republicans do. And why aren't we doing what's good for the country versus following some political platforms or something?
Look, nuclear power, goes all the way back to 3 Mile Island. The enviros and the left have always been against nuclear power. I've been on Navy ships. I served on the Enterprise, had a nuclear power plant on it. But it is clean, it is inexpensive, and look at our Palo Verde plant. But it's to say now, the President and the Secretary of Energy saying, well, now we're for nuclear power. You can't get there if you do what Harry Reid tells you, and that's shut Yucca Mountain, which, by the way, cost $9 billion, now all wasted. And if you don't recycle the way that the French and the British and the Japanese do, then you can't get there, because you can't have the spent nuclear fuel sitting around in pools outside power plants all over the country.
No.
So, again, it's an exercise in hypocrisy to say that you're for nuclear power, but you're closing Yucca Mountain, and you won't recycle. It was Jimmy Carter's decision, by the way, not to recycle. Think we should get over that?
I think so, because it makes sense, and other countries are doing it. The other thing, it's amazing that Democrats, or at least some Democrats I know of, they're against nuclear power. They're also against gas, and they're against coal. And coal is 50% of our electric power in the country. What are we going to do?
Well, we want to invest in clean coal technology, and I have some confidence that we will. But, again, nuclear power can replace coal-fired plants over time.
Yes.
But the fact is, the reality is that we will be dependent on coal for a significant period of time, and we ought to be having private enterprise investing, which they are, in clean coal technology. Look, we all want to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. It's a good thing to do.
Sure.
But do we want to do it at the expense of our economy? That's the question.
Well, I'm a businessman here in Yuma. I've got a quick answer for that, and it would be in the negative.
Yeah, sure.
We're not going to sacrifice my kids' future and everyone else's kids' future for a theory of global warming and destroy our whole economy when we can get there with some common sense.
We can. And by the way, you are the engine of our economy. The biggest mistake this administration has made was bailing out Wall Street and not paying any attention to Main Street. My whole effort is to get lines of credit, get tax breaks, get incentives for small businesses, which is the generator of jobs in Arizona and America. People are hurting like they never have before, and we have failed them.
Senator, thanks so much for the call, and I look forward to seeing you this evening, sir.
Thanks for having me on, old friend.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.